What's the worst that could happen when buying something on Craigslist? A fake item? Maybe you get stood up? Well, buckle up, because the story in this video is about to show you just how wrong a simple Craigslist deal can go. This encounter will make you think twice about that too good to be true offer. I remember scrolling through Craigslist one night, bored out of my mind. That's when I saw it. A barely used PlayStation 5 for half the price. My heart started racing. I had to have it. I messaged the seller right away, and we set up a meeting for the next day at a nearby parking lot. As I drove there, I couldn't stop thinking about how lucky I was, but something felt off. The lot was empty when I pulled in, except for one car parked in the far corner. A guy got out and waved me over. He looked normal enough, but my stomach was in knots. I had no idea what was about to happen next. The first red flags. As I got closer, I noticed the guy was wearing a hoodie, pulled low over his face. That's when the first alarm bells started ringing in my head. I mean, who wears a hoodie in the middle of summer? But I pushed that thought away. I was so close to getting an amazing deal that I didn't want to mess it up by being paranoid. The guy waved at me again, motioning for me to park next to him. I hesitated for a second, then figured, what the heck? I pulled up and rolled down my window. "Hey, you selling the PlayStation 5?" I asked. He nodded, not saying anything. Another red flag. Why was he being so quiet? But then he pulled out the console from his car, and I got excited all over again. It looked brand new, just like the ad said. "Can I take a look?" I asked. He nodded again and handed it to me through the window. As I was checking it out, I noticed his hands were shaking. Weird, right? But I was too focused on the PlayStation 5 to really think about it. Then he finally spoke. "You got the money?" His voice was low and kind of scratchy, like he was trying to disguise it or something. I should have known better, but I was already reaching for my wallet. That's when things started to get really sketchy. He kept looking around like he was worried someone might see us, and when I handed him the cash, he snatched it so fast I almost dropped it. I remember thinking, this doesn't feel right, but I'd already come this far. I didn't want to back out now and lose my chance at the PlayStation 5, so I ignored that little voice in my head telling me to get the heck out of there. As he was counting the money, I saw something glint in his pocket. Was that a knife? My heart started racing. I told myself I was just being paranoid, but deep down, I knew something was seriously wrong. He finished counting and looked up at me. That's when I saw his eyes for the first time. They were cold, calculating. Not the eyes of someone just selling a gaming console. These were the eyes of someone with much darker intentions. But it was already too late. In one swift motion, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the knife I'd seen earlier. My blood ran cold as he pressed it against my arm. "Get out of the car," he growled. "Now." I took a deep breath and stepped out of my car. "Give me everything," he growled, pressing the gun against my chest. I couldn't breathe. My hands shook as I handed over my wallet and phone, but he wasn't done. "Car keys, now!" I fumbled in my pocket, nearly dropping them. As I held them out, he snatched them and shoved me hard. I stumbled backwards, tripping over my own feet. That's when I heard it. A car engine revving nearby. I looked up to see another guy running towards us from behind a dumpster. "Hurry up!" the new guy yelled. Everything was happening so fast. The first guy jumped into my car, while his buddy hopped into theirs. In seconds, they were peeling out of the lot, leaving me in a cloud of dust and disbelief. I stood there, frozen. What just happened? One minute I'm buying a PlayStation 5, the next I'm robbed at gunpoint and my car's gone. My legs gave out and I sank to the ground. The reality of what just went down hit me like a ton of bricks. I could have been killed over a stupid game console. As I sat there trying to process it all, I realized how quickly things had escalated. They must have planned this whole thing. The empty lot, the lookout, everything. And I walked right into it. I couldn't believe how naive I'd been. All those red flags I ignored, the sketchy location, the guy's nervous behavior, it all made sense now. They were never selling a PlayStation 5. This was a setup from the start. My hands were still shaking as I borrowed a phone from a nearby store to call the cops. As I waited, I kept replaying every moment in my head. How did I not see this coming? When the police arrived, they told me I wasn't the first. Apparently, these guys had been pulling this scam for weeks, always with high-demand items, always in isolated spots. I gave my statement, feeling like an idiot the whole time. The cops were sympathetic, but I could tell they were thinking the same thing I was. How could anyone fall for this? As I sat in the back of the police car, heading to the station to file a report, it hit me. This wasn't just about losing my car or my wallet. I could have lost my life, all because I thought I was getting a good deal on Craigslist. If you're thinking about buying or selling on Craigslist, learn from my mistakes. Always meet in a public place, like a police station parking lot. Bring a friend if you can, and trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. This isn't just about Craigslist. Any online marketplace can be risky. Scammers are getting smarter, but so can we. Do your research, ask questions, and never rush into a deal. Remember, that amazing offer might not be worth the risk. Behind that screen could be someone waiting to take advantage of you. Stay safe out there, guys. You never know what might be lurking behind that next click.